What happens when you launch a 230 partner law firm with a servant's heart? Welcome to the Lawyer Millionaire, helping law firm owners grow their businesses and their wealth. I'm your host, Darren Wurz. Let's face it, culture isn't just a buzzword. It's the invisible force that shapes your team's performance, your client experience, and your firm's future. But how do you actually build a law firm where people feel empowered and not expendable? Today's guest is Joel Ferdinand, co-founder and co-chairman of Pierson Ferdinand LLP. He helped lead one of the largest law firm launches in U.S. history and brings a bold, values-driven vision for modern legal leadership. All right, Joel, we're excited for the show today and glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so you have had quite an exciting journey, and so much has happened for you in the last couple of years. As I understand it, you co-founded PeerFerd in 2024 and
Correct.
launched with over 130 partners, one of
That's
the
right.
largest launches in history. What was it that made that level of scale and coordination possible?
Started with a really hard question, right? Honestly, just the team. Listen, we get asked a lot, how did we do it? Michael
Yeah.
Pierson, my co-founder, and I say pretty often, it has nothing to do with us. There's no ego here. There's no hubris. It's a team effort, and we had a really large team and 130 partners that we really love and trust that made that possible. We've scaled. Looking at the calendar, so it's June now, which is insane to me. Over the last 18 months, we're sitting at over 243 partners subscribed. I think there's 235 here today, which is remarkable.
Yeah.
And it looks to the outside world like we're scaling so fast. Can I tell you, I finished my 893rd face-to-face interview with partner candidates today since January 1st of 24.
Oh, wow.
It's a really slow and intentional process on our part so that we never grow for the sake of growth. But really, in direct answer to your question, it's the team that makes it possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So what is it that draws people? I mean, you say it's slow, but it's fast. I mean, you're getting people that want to come to your organization. What is it that's drawing them?
So Michael and I focus at PeerFerd on culture first. We run businesses, right? So not the only business I own with Michael, or the only business that Michael and I own, irrespective of each other. Everything we do is based on culture first. So our four cornerstones at PeerFerd that are very near and dear to both of our hearts are professional, responsive, trusted, and humble. So listen, you've heard my podcast, Darren. You've heard me speak before. Keeping to my circle, this is a biblical mandate for why I live my life the way I do. When I say humble, Darren, I make like 18.6 million mistakes a day. Internally, never externally, lest we commit malpractice, but internally, I stop myself cold in my tracks. I directly express the mistake that I made. I apologize. And I promise through my actions that it won't be repeated. And sometimes I still repeat it and I have to be called out on it. I think that's the right thing to do. Our cornerstones are everything. We care more about our partners and staff, what we call our PeerFerd family, as human beings than we do as professionals. They're elite, excellent lawyers. There's no doubt about it. We have a hiring pedigree. We care about our people first. And I think it shows in everything that we do. To be hired here, one of the promises I ask from each partner, and one of the promises that Michael and I ask from each partner, is that you've digested our 100 plus page collateral package. We have a 62-page partner handbook. It's not an attorney handbook. Excuse me, strike that. It's not an employee handbook. We have that. It is a partner handbook of 62 pages of all of our rules. There is no exception, not even for me and Michael. The second I make an exception, I'm a scumbag that you can't trust, right? And that's not in relation to any other business or law firm or owner out there. I've worked at so many businesses, forget law firms. You're told one thing and something else happens. Darren, in any other aspect of your life, that's called a lie. I don't understand why that's accepted amongst law firms or businesses. So we don't lie. We make sure that what we say is confirmed in writing simultaneous with the event. So even at inception, to give someone 100 pages, which it's bonkers, I know it is, right? To give someone 100 pages before we hire them post NDA. These are our rules, and this is what Michael and I will abide by. It changes everything.
Mm.
And it shows it's not just the words that we say, it shows in writing that we mean what we say up front and that we're held to that standard consistently throughout the entire relationship. It's important.
Yeah. Yeah. Setting those expectations clearly in the beginning is really, really powerful, easier than setting them later.
I don't know that it's easier,
um,
right? It's you're stuck
mm,
abiding by it. I've been in businesses before,
true.
forget law firms, but businesses where a C-suite will say one thing and then the rules start to flex, either for profit or for culture or scaling. We wanted to think through at inception 25 to 50 years. What does it look like when I am far greater than I am today? And how do we make sure it's consistent from start to finish? And there's no such thing as finish. Michael and I are fervent believers that atrophy is death. If you stop innovating, if you
Mm,
stop disrupting, your business is going to fail. It has nothing to do with a law firm. I think that's any business. So we constantly look to make changes under the rubric of the same rules. That way it can be consistent for everyone.
yeah. Give us a glimpse of what this 100-page partner handbook looks like. What's the main idea here? Yeah.
Really, so our I think our attorney handbook is something that I'm personally most proud of. It is all of our rules from how we pay in transparent environment, how you can check in automatically every 2 hours by app for exactly how much you're being paid, exactly how much Michael and I are being paid, and why. If a client short paid or not, how to
Mm,
deal with origination disputes if as and when they arise, how to not be a meanie faced jerk. So I'm being a little colloquial and cute, but I'm not. We have a no meanie faced jerk rule. If you
yeah.
act like a big firm jerk, you'll get grace once. Everyone does. You could have a bad day. If it happens twice, you could have a $45 million book. You will not be here the next day. It's a cancer that needs to be cut out. Culture
Mhm.
has to carry. And I think lots of businesses talk about that, but they don't live it out. Has to be lived out. And I
Yeah.
attribute our growth and our scale to that in large part.
Hmm. Yeah, it seems that way. Does it say something? Transparency. You mentioned that. I mean, that is lacking in so many businesses, especially small businesses.
Yeah.
I actually this was a post. This post went viral on LinkedIn. I said, "Here's a radical idea: tell your employees exactly how much money you make," and it caught fire. And I was like, this is not revolutionary to Fortune 500 companies. Everybody knows what the CEO makes, right? So why should it be any different for for smaller businesses?
It shouldn't. I think it's whether it's a pay transparency law or idea. Look, it all links back to culture. I'm going to keep on beating that horse because I believe in
Mm,
it.
yeah.
Nothing needs to be a secret. It can be transparent. Our team's successes are their successes on which we brag on them in public environment. Their failures are our failures, which we take on the chin in public environment without blaming them. How much we make, who
Yeah.
cares? Listen, I work 15 to 18 hours a day, 6, 7 days a week. My name's Joel Ferdinand. I'm a workaholic. I wish I weren't, but we run a large organization and we very much care about the individuals that are next to us. It's not a horizontal approach, it's vertical. No one's boss. They are our equals. Whether that is
Yeah.
an assistant or a paralegal or an attorney, it does not matter. They are equals and they're equally important to the organization. So everyone should know. There shouldn't be some big secret. And look, the fact that that went viral, don't you find that remarkable? Why are small businesses so afraid to talk about it?
Yeah.
I
Yeah. I do.
think every business owner's goal at some point is to scale. Yeah? Okay, scale. But if you're going to
Mm,
scale, you're constantly in the public limelight. Like, look, this isn't about me. I said it. I hate having my name on the door. So does Michael. Not something we ever wanted to do. We just didn't want to do a trade name. In some of our jurisdictions that we practice or from which we practice, you can't have a trade name. It has to be actual names. So fine. So it's there. Well,
yeah.
I believe now that means that we're held to a higher standard. What I say has to be right. And if I'm wrong, and I am a lot, I have to admit it.
True. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When your name's up there, there's a lot of attention on you. So yeah, that does put some added responsibility there for sure.
We tell lots of
Um,
people, Michael and I, we want to know everyone's birthdays, significant others, anniversaries, heaven forbid, diagnoses. It's a really weighty responsibility. And it's not something that you
yeah,
can lightly take. To know that type of information about your team, you have to live it out, man. That's not easy.
right, right. I know you've talked a lot about the concept of servant leadership, and that's one way that you live this out as a core principle. How, that term gets tossed around a lot, and in some ways, it's probably lost its meaning in language. But how do you define servant leadership, and what does it look like in your practice?
Man, can I get hokey but keep it in my circle? Listen, servant leadership comes from the Bible.
Sure.
When we drafted this handbook, Michael's very tolerant of me. I love Michael. He's a brother. What a professional blessing. I drafted principles knowing what they were because I have a roadmap that's a couple thousand years old, right? Servant leadership means that I am here to serve, not here for the spotlight. Don't care about it. Not here to have my name in the door or to be applauded or to have a ring kissed. Everyone is meant to be my equal. So
Mm,
servant leadership means that I am actually here to serve. That stinks, man. It's really hard. It really is. Sometimes you want to be told thank you or not be yelled at. Forget the law firm. That's any environment. We're human beings, right? To actually serve others
yeah.
means to put them in front of yourself. That's why we have a 62-page attorney handbook. That's why we have a long employee handbook. I want the entire team to know the rules up front. It is just as much of the rules for me and a reminder for me because I can't violate them. And if I do, how do I serve? Right? It has to be
Mm, mm,
equally merited. So we say here a lot that we have a meritocratic principle, right? Our attorneys, excuse me, they know how much they're being paid. We have confidential percentages, confidential amongst the organization, right? Not to the outside world. Well, strike that.
you're
The
right.
organization knows, the outside world doesn't. They're confidential to them, but we're all under that same rubric to make it fair. If you're a gunner and you work 100 hours a week, I don't think that's healthy. I shouldn't do it either. I know it's not. Well, then you're going to hit it out of the park. If you work 40 hours a week, you're still going to hit it out of the park, but you know what that adjustment is. And we're judged,
Mhm.
not that we should be judged, but we're meted out pay and I think prestige based on how we work. And I think it's a command that we should work hard and gleefully. I love what I do, right? I think
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
really, I mean, that's the core principle behind servant leadership. Do it. Be passionate, do it well, and live your life for others. It's not about me. It
And
shouldn't be.
yeah, a lot of business owners law firm owners will resonate with that. Hopefully, wanting to see your employees and your partners and see them succeed and be successful. I think that's something that I kind of learned and found as I grew my own organization.
Yeah.
Um, let's let's talk about more specifics, like how else. And culture is really big for you. How are you really innovating in a way that makes your firm different from maybe more traditional law firms? Or what are some of the new concepts that you're implementing?
Sure. So we believe that the future is now, and we are the elite law firm of the future, right? So those are on buzzwords. We focus first on technology backing. So we use some off-the-shelf products that I think are incredible with an open API so that we've been able to hire software engineers that we really trust that can help us engineer around what others could consider systems limitations to scale, or even the billable or non-billable. So Michael and I believe that a primary role of our job is to reduce the non-billable for our partners. So listen, we have 91 pre-approved engagement forms. Single client, multiple client with an RPC 17A joint rep waiver, no retainer, standard retainer, evergreen retainer, replenishing retainer, hourly contingent, mixed contingent, or 91 of these. It's not their job to sit down and draft these, right? It's our job to know the rules of
Yeah.
professional conduct, the SRA rules overseas, make these simplistic for clients, and make the process quick. So I'll tell every candidate during the interview process, because it is the truth. We've gotten this down to 60 seconds. It's not junk in, junk out. It has to be right. But in 60 seconds, you should be able to draft a proper engagement form, get it to your client, have your client sign it, automatically save it to the system, and move on to what we have to do as attorneys, which is solve problems. If it takes you 4.5, 5 hours to get something through a conflict system and draft an engagement agreement and figure out how to do it and talk to general counsel because this one's bespoke, it's unique, I'm failing you. This has to be thought through and made easier. Listen, we want to give our staff, our partners, want to give them their lives back, right?
Mm.
Part of my frustration in law for the last hour, decade and a half, 2 decades I've been practicing, it's that the non-billable takes up a lot of time, and it can be exceedingly complicated. It shouldn't have to be. Our cases should be complex. I love complex casework. Business divorces, environmental law, D&O, like that stuff's fun, but that's me solving a problem for a client, whether I write off my time, bill it or otherwise. The non-billable has to be easier. So we placed an incredible emphasis on making the non-billable go away. Listen, can you ever reduce the non-billable completely? No, I'm not foolish. I know you can't, but you can reduce it greatly to make
Hmm.
your attorneys and your professionals have the ability to get to the billable. Now, if they get to the billable and we can reduce their non-billable, we give them their personal lives back. That's time spent with spouses and family and hobbies. That's just as important. And we put as much an emphasis on the technology we put on mental health, truthfully. So we
Mm.
believe that every lawyer suffers from a severe form of PTSD, right? Whatever position they've come from, whether that's big law, institutional, government, they've had a bad experience with a judge or a
Mm.
client, they're suffering this form of post-traumatic stress disorder where listen, you've experienced it, we're lawyers. You at 2 o'clock in the morning, you have that wake up and you feel awful about something. Well, that shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
So we make that go away.
Mm.
The way to make that go away is
Yeah.
to be consistent and to help through technology.
Okay. Okay. Um, what got you motivated to create this firm? Was there a defining moment where you said, I'm going to go out and we're, Michael and I are going to go out and create this organization? What was the inspiration?
You know, just because we do something different doesn't make it better, right? There's other law firms out there that are distributed like we are. So we're a remote law firm. There's other law firms out there trying to disrupt the legal marketplace. Big law's out there doing what big law does. I think there's a time and a place for each of it, and they're each excellent. What really set the stage for me and Michael, I was pretty miserable. And I looked up one
Mm.
day and I realized I was pretty miserable. And I talked to Michael about it. And it wasn't miserable because of any person or any organization. I just wanted to do it differently, right? Michael wanted to do it
Mm.
differently. And we wanted to put the emphasis on our people, right? So I hate to dovetail back to culture, but it's a truth. I always said, wouldn't it be great if, and we talked about it, and lots of things were done in different organizations, right? So Michael and I own another business that's non-legal. And we watched a culture really build out of that organization with an incredible business partner, my dear friend Pete Edge, and some others, where we put the emphasis on the humans and watch what happened. Right? There were so
Mm.
many organizations, Darren, I've worked in, law firms, in-house, whatever. People would talk about this, but I never felt it, and I always kind of felt like a number, or like the bottom line on the calculator. I wanted to feel
Yeah.
important and first. So we say a lot here. We started our retreat like this last year. You're loved, you're empowered, and you're enough just the way you are. Right? That's not a mantra. It's not meant to be hokey. We mean it. We love our teams. They are
Yeah.
empowered, and they are enough just the way they are because we hired them for good reason. Right? Every lawyer, every
Mm.
professional We're tools. I'm not the right tool for every case. I'm a commercial litigator. I love to try cases. Sometimes I am way too aggressive, and I know I can be. So sometimes it takes someone with a softer approach. That's not me. I know my limitations, right? So we want the full team to know our 230, 240 plus partners here and the staff. So we have over 300 as an organization. We all serve very, very specific purpose, but it all hits a greater good. Michael says a lot, a rising tide raises all ships. And it's the truth. If we all know the direction we're going and it's clear from inception and it's clear from the C-suite perspective because we talk about this with frequency, well, now we have a team that gets it. And now we're part of a larger organization that we know the purpose, right? I want everyone to feel like this. It's so important. And I think it's testament, not to me and Michael, but it's testament to the organization. Look how it's growing. People are
Yeah.
genuinely happy. Can I tell you about like my favorite part of the year? We walk into our firm annual retreat this September. So September 17th to 19th in Stowe, Vermont. 95% of the partnership RSVP'd yes. Darren, I'm freaking out. I never thought that many people would come. So we're having a hoteling issue where we need more rooms now. That's incredible. No one's going
Yeah.
to shake hands. They're going to hug. And that's not hokey. It's the truth because they love working together. They all know the same set
Yeah.
of rules. It is transparent. They don't just see it, they feel it. I feel it. And to me, that's what it was. It was wanting something bigger, something where as a whole, we truly feel as one, right? Does that mean that
Mhm.
people don't fight from time to time? No, we're human beings. Does that mean that we don't make
Right.
mistakes? No, we're human beings. But we all know where we're moving together. And I think that's huge. That's
Mm.
really, to me, that's what I was going for. That's what Michael was going for. And it's working.
Yeah, Joel, I'm curious, I imagine this has been kind of life-changing for some of the people in your organization. Can you share anonymously, maybe one example of someone who was really impacted by joining your organization?
I'll give you a broader scale just so I don't even anonymously call someone out.
Sure.
I have in my credenza behind me, I have a thank you folder. There's 35, 40 thank you cards in there from partners that have started waiting for the other shoe to drop, like that PTSD. Like, are you real? Is this really who? Yes, this is really who I am. Is this really who Michael is? Yes. Listen, can I be a jerk sometimes? Sure, I'm a human being, but I'm the first to apologize. Gosh, I hope I am. Where people are like, we have our life back. We rekindled a relationship with a spouse. We rekindled a relationship with a kid. Listen, my
Mhm.
dad was in the hospital a couple weeks ago, and that sucked.
Yeah.
But I was
Mm.
able to work from ICU next to him. And I had 200
Yeah.
plus people that had my back. That's life changing for me. I couldn't do what I do without that. Right. People that have been with their families and don't feel judged for being with their families. People that have asked for help from an alcohol or drug perspective that they need help and are able to come and say, I need help. That's great. Listen, you said earlier success. I don't know what success means. For 40 something years, my faux pas and my biggest failure is that I have been performance driven. I don't know any other
Mm.
way. That's not success. This is not
Yeah.
success. Success, I think, is what type of husband and dad can I be? Because I fail at that too, right? It's
Mm.
what type of organization can we have as a team? I don't know that it's just money. It's not that money's not important. It's a necessary evil, but even as a business owner, we look at those metrics to run a business. I have to be in a general ledger and a P&L and L and a balance sheet. We're running a business, but that is not the sole metric by which success is measured. So those thank you notes, they're the best for me. Everything from spending more time with my spouse to, oh my gosh, I'm working less billable hours to my clients are happy to I've been able to reduce my hourly shake to my clients and pass value add to them on everything we touch. And now my client wants to be more full service, or my client wants to go on vacation with me. That to me is huge. That shows me we're doing something right. Money follows.
Yeah.
And I can see it in the P&L and the balance sheet. And like, that's great. But it
Mhm.
shows success, I think, at a different level. And that's really what Michael and I want for our team. Money is important, necessary evil, but how are they measuring their success? So I say a lot. We teach a scaling class here and a biz dev class. We do this with recruits, and I always say, listen, if you think your identity is in being a lawyer, you're failing. It is a
Mm.
noble profession. It should be full time. We should be highly responsive, but my identity is not in being a lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good reminder.
We need it. And I
Let's
need
talk
that
about the
reminder.
money.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sorry.
we all do. We all do. So thank you so much for sharing those thoughts. Let's talk about the money. I got one fun segment I'd like to do called Money Myth Buster. I'm curious if there's a myth that you believed about money when you were young or early in life or something, business or personal or whatever, that now you know not to be true.
Yeah. Listen, there was never a number, but I believe that money meant success.
Mm.
It doesn't. Do you know? So Michael and I interview all the candidates here. And I like to be the last interview no matter what. I personally draft the offer packages. It's Michael's very tolerant of me because I'm finicky in that regard. All right. The last thing I end with, I tell every single candidate, staff, partners, everyone, if you worship money in this model, you'll destroy your life. It comes from the exact question you just asked me. I believed fervently that I needed to make a certain amount of money, and it was a sliding scale throughout my career to be quote unquote
Yeah.
successful. Do you know when
Yeah.
I really chased money, it destroyed my relationship with my wife Robin, with my son Finn, with my nephew
Mm.
Jameson? Like, why? Because I thought my worth was in money. You can make a lot of money in your career. Anyone that thinks that makes them happy, they're idiots. I was an idiot for a long time. Money does not make you
Yeah.
happy. Necessary evil. But I don't think there's such a thing
Hmm.
as enough or that right number. Listen, I work as much as I work now because I like it. I really do. But I love to anonymously donate. Hear me when I say anonymous. I don't want my name on something. It's not what that's about. I like to watch what money can do in anonymous fashion to the right organizations to change people's lives. That's exciting to
Yeah.
me.
Absolutely. I love that. It's not about the money itself. And in fact, I wrote about that in my book, The Lawyer Millionaire.
You
The
did.
title is The Lawyer Millionaire, right? And we want to inspire people. I wanted it to be motivational, but I'm very clear in the beginning that
Mhm.
it's not about a number. It never will be because the dirty little secret is you can achieve that number, and then once you get there, it's like,
It's not
oh,
enough.
okay, what now? Right.
It's
So
cute.
it's
I
really
asked
more
my
than,
I
yeah.
asked my dad years ago, very much same personality, right? My dad's 80 years old. God bless him. He still works the way that I work. I was raised on experience. I said, Dad, when did you feel successful? I think my dad's a
Mm,
glowing success from an economics perspective, from a business perspective, and he couldn't answer the question.
yeah.
And listen, no secret, Darren, I'm a big believer of mental health. So is Michael. So I go to therapy every 2 weeks at a minimum, right? Um, my
Mm,
one of my besties, Bob, is a therapist, and thank God for Bob. I've been trying to unpack this with
yeah.
Bob for years. There is no such thing as financial success. And it's exactly what you said. You can push for that number or that
Yeah.
cash out. It's never enough because it's not about the money. It's not. It's like,
Mm,
oh, I made it. Well, if you live your life by metricable monetary success, you're always going to think you're a failure. At least
yeah.
that's what I think. It's listen, it's great to have financial security. It's great to be able to pay a bill in advance, to not worry about tuition. I get it. It's not lost on me, but that is not success.
Hmm.
Just not. That
Yeah.
was the
And
biggest
I
myth
think
growing up.
yeah, that's so powerful. And I think a corollary to that is this idea that hard work equals money. And so we fall into this trap of we want money, so I just need to work hard. And then we end up just working hard and working as hard as we can. And if I just work harder. And I've seen this happen with me in my business. Sometimes when I'm working really hard and things aren't happening, and then I'll be like, okay, I give up. And then things start happening. It's a weird phenomenon. It's like sometimes the less you work, the better things work.
So
I don't
definitely
know.
not a financial myth by any means, but I think other than that financial myth, the biggest trick I think for years I've tried to convince myself of that is wrong is that I have any form of control because I don't.
Mm,
I don't.
yeah,
I know where it comes from. And that idea of control or conceived control, which I think is a business owner's faux pas, right? We want to know as much as we can.
so
We want to know the issues. We want to look as far in advance as we can. And listen, there's a strong amount of planning I think that necessarily has to be done. But that idea of control, you're right. Sometimes when you just take ah, everything just works itself out. And
hmm
that's not to sound silly.
yeah,
It's not that we're not forecasting and looking ahead and truly planning, but there is no control. I don't think it's dissimilar in litigation. I can control as much as possible. I believe that
yeah,
litigation is a Shakespearean play. From inception to the end, I have court rules. I know what I can and cannot do. There are certain levers that I can take
hmm
down or not. I can plan for that, but I can't control live testimony. Sometimes you just have to let it come
true.
in.
Yeah. That reminds me of a book we read in our book club, The Psychology of Money. Have you ever read it?
Recently, actually, so I told you, but I'll
Oh,
give it to
good.
whomever cares to watch this. I downloaded about 3 weeks ago this app called I'm just looking it up so I don't missay it. Blinkist, Blinkist. And I tell you, I love it. I just don't have the time 18 months
Yeah,
into a new business to sit down and really read for nonfiction. I don't have time to read for fiction.
right.
So as much as I love a good article, a book would be great. This app is pretty cheap. Honestly, I'm not a marketer for the app. I don't get anything off of this, but it gives you the effective cliff notes on a nonfiction book over 16 to 18 minutes. And in the morning when I wake up with quiet time, I can rip through a book in 18 minutes and truly get the gist. It's been great. So yes, I did listen to it. It was excellent.
Nice, nice. Yeah, he talks about the role of luck
Hmm.
and how we have to appreciate the role of luck in success, especially in business. You can't control the outcome, and a lot of people that we see as being very successful, luck played a role at some point. Maybe it's divine, maybe it's something else, but we
Yeah.
can't control necessarily where things are going. Yeah.
Listen,
So I just
I'm
think
a
that's such a powerful.
fervent believer. I think I've said it 2 or 3 times. Like, really, my faith is everything. I know for me where it comes from. Uh, doesn't mean that I don't try to out control things. I do. Uh, doesn't mean that I don't try
Yeah,
to
we
overly
all do.
plan. I do. But at the end of the day,
Sure.
it's a huge component of it. And listen, there's no way just to control our little universe, our little world, right? There's no such thing as a fiefdom. I told you that this can't be about hubris. It can't be about ego. I screw up every day. I have to admit it. And I can't just admit it to myself. I have to admit it to the team. That hurts, man. Like to be that vulnerable is not
hmm
not an easy thing to do. I think it's a learned trait at which I fail every day, but you keep on coming back to it. I don't think it's any different with the spouse. I hurt Robin's feelings or Finn's feelings all the time. It's not because I'm a meanie faced jerk. I'm human and I have to go back and admit that. That's painful, man. Not just to them. It's painful to do it
Yeah,
to yourself to think that you're anything less than like perfect, your idea of perfect. There's no such thing.
definitely. Yeah. So, Joel, in your Blinkist app, what's one of the top reads that you've had recently that was really impactful for you?
So I read or listened to Atomic Habits and also the 5 a.m. Club. And I'll tell you, the 5 a.m. Club was pretty impactful for
Mm,
me because I used to do it for years and we are
sounds
so
like you're in the
busy.
4 a.m. club.
Yeah, unfortunately, my wife would be like, no, he sleeps longer. It depends on the day, right? I don't sleep well. I tend to wake myself up just out of thinking. Um, it kind of, I've been doing this for the last few weeks now, 18 months in of a new business. It's difficult to still do, but to find the quiet time and to focus on whatever you're focusing on, prayer,
Uh,
meditation, 20 minutes of a book, 20 minutes of just intense workout just to get your cortisol levels down for the day, stress levels. That's been pretty impactful to me. I've been really trying to focus on that the last several weeks to reinstitute that habit, to wake up early and resist the urge
mhm.
to immediately get on this dumb device. Right. This thing to me,
Yes.
as convenient, as great as
Yeah.
it is, this is a trap that I'm unfortunately
Hmm.
very accustomed to. It's hard not to put it down. Like, listen, man, there's some days I'm getting well more than 1,000 emails a day. I'm responding to everyone personally. I have to. How do you get away from that? I think you have to buy that time emotionally and physically to get away from a computer or computing device, at least for an hour.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was a
Yeah.
great book for
It's
me.
it's critical. That's wonderful. I love those. We haven't had those yet in the book club, but those are great recommendations. In fact, I haven't read either of those yet, but they've been on my lists for a long time. I listen to audiobooks because, like you, it's hard for me to sit down and read, but I can listen while I'm walking the dog or doing different things, and
Yeah.
that tends to be best for me. Yeah. Well, Joel, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Darren, this is really fun. Thank you so much. It's really good to see you again.
A big thank you to Joel Ferdinand for sharing his insights on leadership, transparency, and building a values driven firm. You can learn more about him and his firm. Check out the show notes for the links. Here's my challenge to you. What would shift in your law firm if you chose to lead with radical transparency and a servant's heart? At the Lawyer Millionaire, we believe true wealth isn't just built in portfolios, it's built in purpose, culture, and vision. Building a firm that reflects your values is the foundation for scaling your business, creating time freedom, and achieving lasting success. And that's exactly what we help law firm owners do every day. To learn more, visit lawyermillionaire.com and download the first chapter of my book, The Lawyer Millionaire. And don't forget to join our free book club for law firm owners just like you who are ready to grow and connect with others. You can sign up at community.lawyermillionaire.com. Who is the Lawyer Millionaire? It's you, my friend. Own it and live it. I'm your host, Darren Wurz. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.